Okay, we are live. Good people, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? It's 8:15. I know we said we were supposed to start at 7 and we were supposed to start at 8. We had some technical difficulties. We're not going to shout out who it was. We just had some technical difficulties that we needed to get through, but we got through them. We here. Happy St. Patty's Day. As you see, Nick up at the top got his green on. He had the orange beard, but it was causing a lot of strife and getting everywhere, and it was a little itchy. But we here. This is Mose Knows. I'm your host, Mose. These are your other two hosts, Nick and Joe, because they know too. And we're back at it with some off-season updates, figuring out where we are, talking about some of the moves that's happening. It's been crazy over the past couple days. So let's jump right into it. Nick, Joe, what's going on? How y'all feeling right now?
I'm good.
I'm good, man. It's like the best time of the year for football, other than the start of the season, and Super Bowl. But free agency's here upon us, and a lot of stuff going on. And yeah, definitely interesting to see what's going to happen, continue to happen in free agency, and what we got to talk about now, the moves and all that other stuff, and it'd be some fun.
Let's do it. So first topic on our list tonight are the franchise tags. So some players did get the tag, some players didn't get the tag, and we'll talk about how all that shakes out with free agency. So just a couple of names right off the bat. Tampa Bay, they placed the franchise tag on Chris Godwin. The Jets placed the franchise tag on safety Marcus May. Washington football team placed the franchise tag on Brandon Scherf. The Bears placed the franchise tag on Allen Robinson. I know Leonard Williams from the Giants, he got the franchise tag, but then he also got, a big deal. So let's just talk about a couple of guys we got on the list. Specifically, I want to talk about Allen Robinson first, because he chose not to sign his franchise tag. What does that mean for him? What that mean for the Bears? Either one of you guys can pick that up if you want.
You said he didn't sign it, or he did sign it?
He did not. He chose not to sign the franchise tag as of right now.
But he wants to get paid.
He wants bread.
And Chicago has Andy Dalton as their starting quarterback. I wanted to sign their franchise tag.
Not at all.
Keep it a buck. I wouldn't sign it either. Why? He just went a whole season with Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles throwing the football to me. Now you gonna have Andy Dalton throwing the football to him? Yeah, I wouldn't sign either. I would be asking for a trade or trying to get out of Chicago to somewhere where a decent quarterback and give him the football.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say much more to that. I mean, look, these guys want to get paid too, and I wish the NFL would just do away with the franchise tag, to be honest with you. It's holding guys against their will. That's what a contract's for. So you do the contract. If you can't renegotiate the contract, the guy has a chance to go anywhere. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the franchise tags because, while you're getting a percentage of what the league is making at that position and for a year, but what if you really don't want to be there? It's just like the fifth-year options. Why do we have a choice to opt out and not sign you on a fifth-year option, but yet you have no choice with the franchise tag because we're going to put it on you, and that's really nothing you have to say. And if you don't want to do it, then you can hold out or whatever, but you're not going to be paid. So what's the sense of it? I mean, it should be right for the players to have that option as well, but I don't know what goes on behind closed doors with the NFLPA, and players may agree on it, so I don't know. But I definitely would either, like Joe said, look for a trade, do something, tell them you want out, don't sign it if you don't want to sign it, and go from there.
I don't think the players want their franchise tag. It's just because most guys get franchise tag. It's like you said, it's a way of the NFL team holding on to a player for a season. And most play, even if you're playing for $30 million for one season, the next year you can blow your knee out in that 30. You get that $30 million, and you're done in that season. You're damaged goods.
Yep.
I don't think players want it. I think they're just there.
And I think with the some teams do right by it and some teams don't. Like we talked about Leonard Williams with the Giants. They use the franchise tag to make sure that no other team, could try to poach him in free agency. And that gave them, an extra window to work on that long-term deal, and they got the deal done. if you have the money, if you have the cap space, and you're really intent on keeping this player around, if he's one of your core guys and you want to keep him around for the long haul because you don't want him to go anywhere else, what's with all the back and forth and all the flip flopping? Do what you need to do, get your guys on it, talk to his guys, and get a deal done. I think that's what the franchise tag should be. Do I see the NFL getting rid of it? No, I agree with you, Nick. I think it, is a waste. I think, if maybe they could, do something to amend the franchise tag to where, it's only good for a particular, amount of time, maybe, gives them an extra, 2 or 3 weeks once the free agent period starts, for, that legal tampering period to not be legal for that player who's under the franchise tag. And if a deal doesn't get done within that 3 to 4 weeks after that, then they become eligible to be talked to by other teams. And if a deal can get struck, then they can sign. They can freely sign with that team. But,
that's the whole reason they have a transition tag. Like, it should only be a transition tag because the transition tag gives you right to refusal on unrestricted free agents. So if another team offers you such and such, the team that put the tag on you has the first right to match that offer or go back. So why do we need a franchise tag? Because the franchise tag, you're just holding them there. Like, okay, we're putting the franchise tag on you. You're stuck with our organization. When you already have a transition tag for unrestricted free agents, put the transition tag on them if you think they're going somewhere else, and then get the first right to match that offer that they get that they're willing to take. Say, hey, look, Washington gave me 2 years, $33 million. Can you match it? Okay, well, we'll give you 2 years, $33.1 million. And now you retract back to them. A, you're going back to the highest bidder. B, you're getting more money. And C, you have a decision. And the team has a decision.
Yeah, but the teams lose leverage that way. With the transition tag, that makes it the open market to where other teams can come in, where Jacksonville, who has $80 million in cap space, can say, you know what, I want him so bad. I want him for 3 years, $120 million, something astronomical that maybe they can pay right now, which would be stupid, but they have the option to do that. So teams lose leverage with the transition tag, where they keep that leverage with the franchise tag, because it's the onus is on the player and his agent to acquiesce to the team in order to get a deal done instead of being on that 1 year deal. But a lot of players and a lot of agents, they're stubborn and they don't want to, stay, on that deal or acquiesce to the team needs and take a deal that they feel like is less than what they're worth.
So real quick before we move on off this, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but so why not make the franchise tag where you have a certain amount of time to come up with a deal? If you don't come up with a deal there, the franchise tag is released and you're open market to anybody.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah,
a couple minutes ago.
Like why can't they do that?
I think they should amend the franchise tag to be that way. And I think if they amend the franchise tag to be that way, it'll either eliminate the franchise tag completely and there's only the transition tag, or it'll put the onus on the team as well to say, look, we have 3 weeks or 4 weeks or however long they give them to figure out what we want to do with this player. And if you want to, extend it until after, the NFL draft, then that kind of makes the playing field even, because if a team is looking at a guy like Leonard Williams, who's on the franchise tag, and you have 6 weeks to get a deal done, and they don't know if a deal is going to get struck, another team doesn't know if a deal is going to get struck in that 6 weeks or not, right? By the time the draft comes, they can either say, we can gamble and wait to see if a deal doesn't get done, and then we go after Leonard Williams, or we can say, I don't want to take that risk and have him get signed, and then we don't have the defensive tackle that we're looking for. And we say in the draft, okay, we're going to go get this young guy in the draft. So maybe that makes it fair, but I think a time limit should be put on the franchise tag, because that's what it should be for. It should be able to keep that guy off limits so that you can work out a long-term deal. And if you're not intent on working out a long-term deal, then the player shouldn't be obligated or stuck into, a 1 year deal when we know that this league, anything can happen at any time. something can happen to a player the same way it happened to Alex Smith, and he lost what 2.5, almost 3 seasons of playing time because of that injury. If that happened to a guy on a franchise tag, he's never going to get that big money contract that he was searching for. So I definitely agree that the franchise tag needs to get out of here. You got any other final thoughts to add on that, OG?
Nah, y'all hit everything on the head. So,
all right, let's move to free agency because I feel we're going to spend a lot more time in this particular area. Free agency has been bonkers right now. And it's surprising to see. It's also good to see with the salary cap being decreased and certain teams not having, the amount of money that they thought they would have. We thought that, free agency may not be as exciting, but nonetheless, it has been very, very exciting to this standpoint so far. So first topic in free agency, let's talk about Dak Prescott. We got to talk Dak. We got to talk that deal. I've been hearing it a lot, man. A lot of people, a lot of Cowboys fans are ripping Jerry Jones because when he had a chance to, pay him, the contract that he wanted, which would have averaged $30 million a year, he said no. And now he pays him a contract that averages $40 million a year. So what do we think about the contract that Dak got? What do we think about Jerry Jones and his handling of this situation and the Cowboys? Let me hear your thoughts on that, fellas.
Well, it's not my money. Just want to put that out there now. But I wouldn't have paid Dak what they paid him. I said it before. I say it again. I heard it from somebody else said it. I wouldn't pay a good quarterback, great quarterback money. Dak is a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's a bum, but he's a good quarterback. So I wouldn't have paid him that kind of money. Plus, I think personally on the street, he wasn't getting what Mr. Jones paid him. Not what he paid him. Nah, he wasn't getting on the streets. So he could have played him on the franchise tag this season and then try to get a deal done next year or let him walk. Or trade him. Trade him to Seattle for Russell Wilson.
I don't know. It's gonna take more than 3 firsts.
Let's not jump ahead. We're gonna get to that in a little bit. Do we think that this was a sympathy check? Dak has been a model citizen, face of the franchise. He's done and said everything right. He had the family situation that happened, not too long ago, with his brother, as unfortunate as that was. And then, he suffered the season-ending injury with the broken ankle. Was this Jerry, just sliding him a sympathy check? Like, look, man, you've done everything right. I don't have one bad thing to say about you. So here, take this money and then, help us win the chip. Was this a sympathy check?
Nah, this is Jerry when I go buy sneakers. He don't care the price tag. He just says, here, take my money. That's what it was.
Real quick before we move on, just so you guys know, the Raiders are also trading Gabe Jackson, guard, to Seattle.
So they're trading their whole line in Seattle now?
So now Gabe is going to Seattle. All NFC West teams are bolstering their offensive line.
Yeah.
So, but talking about the contract, I mean, it was 160. It was a maximum value of $164 or $164 million, with $126 million in guaranteed.
Yep.
And then 2 key details it was a no trade clause and a no tag provision.
Mm-hmm. And then what was it, 75 million in like the first year or first 2 years?
Yeah, deal averages the 42 million a year over the first 3 seasons. He's making 42 million first 3 seasons, 75 million in the first season, and 66 million signing bonus.
$75 million in one season?
In one season.
Jeez.
So look, 27 or 28 years old now. For a guy who just came off a major leg injury, one, B, he isn't all that good in the first place.
No.
And then 3, even when healthy, they still couldn't win the NFC in the NFC least. So, like, you got guys like Amari Cooper and good receiving core. You got a good running back in Zeke, but you still can't win. Like, to me, we're at that same position we're kind of in that same position right now with quarterbacks, right? And we're talking about moving on from a quarterback who took us to a Super Bowl, where they're talking about signing a guy to a big contract like we did with Jimmy in the beginning, because it was an unknown. This isn't like Dak was traded there and it's like we need to lock him up at quarterback money. This guy's been there his entire career. You know who he is. You know what you're going to get. To pay that astronomical amount of money, it goes to Jerry Jones's decision making,
as always,
and B, it goes to what the Kansas City Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes, and because they're setting the market that much higher. When Jimmy was signed in San Francisco, he was the highest paid quarterback at the time, because that's what you have to do in the league. You have to compete with other areas and teams. But this was just a stupid move on behalf of the Dallas Cowboys. And it's not the first, and I'm sure it won't be the last either.
No, they made two stupid moves before that. They paid Amari Cooper $100 million. They paid Zeke 80-something, $90 million as well. So they made two stupid ones before that.
Yep.
And you signed this quarterback to Patrick Mahomes' money, and he's not even Patrick Mahomes' little brother.
Yeah, man.
Like you said,
what just happened?
Pat P is leaving Arizona.
Where's he going?
Minnesota Vikings.
Whoa.
Who?
Patrick Peterson.
Oh, wow.
P2.
I did not. Minnesota. It's a 1 year, $10 million deal.
Well, but to pick up what you said earlier, Nick, Dak was 1-2 when he was healthy with Dallas.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, where are you getting these wins from? Like, we signed a guy who won 5 games out of 6 games in the end of the season and took a 1-9 team to a 6-10 team.
Right.
There's promise there. That's betting on what you're going to do.
And now it's a bargain.
Right. And now it's a bargain. And we're only complaining about it because we need the cap space and we want to upgrade.
Right.
Because we could go into the season with Jimmy Garoppolo and he'll win you some football games. It's not like he won't, especially with bolstering a line, getting people healthy and things like that. But Joe, you're 100% correct. He was 1-2, like, with a healthy team. They had one of the best offensive lines that year too. Like, I don't know. I just don't get the whole concept of paying him. Marcus, you might be right, man. It might be like a I feel bad for you type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what you've been through. You lost your mother at a young age. Now you're losing your brothers type thing. Your injury. Like, okay, we're family. We're your family. So we're going to take care of you. But sometimes that bites you in the butt.
Yeah, it does. Now let's go from, not smart quarterback decision to a quarterback who always seems to make the smart decision because he only cares about winning. Tom Brady has done what he's always done. When he was in New England, he always did it every year. And now in Tampa Bay, he did it again. He restructures his deal every year, moves money around to increase the cap so that his team can sign players. The Bucs are doing what is necessary to bring back their core group of guys that helped them win the Super Bowl. Bruce Arians said it at the Super Bowl parade. They made it happen. They got Chris Godwin on the franchise tag. They re-signed Shaq Barrett. They re-signed Levante David. They re-signed Gronk. I think the only players that they haven't yet to re-sign are Leonard Fournette and Antonio Brown. But even if they don't get those guys, the core of that group is still intact. Let's talk about it, man. What is it about Tom Brady and him wanting to win so bad that he will give money back to the organization, and other quarterbacks are not doing it? I think the only other quarterback who is following that lead or tried to follow that lead was Patrick Mahomes, because this offseason he restructured his deal as well to give the Chiefs some cap relief because they were in the hole. Once the number came out where the salary cap would be, the Chiefs were one of the teams in the hole. Part of the reason why they cut both of their starting tackles from, the 2 Super Bowl runs that they went to. And Mahomes restructured his deal, like you said, twice to give the team cap relief so that they can sign necessary players and bring some guys back. Why are other teams, one, not following this? Why are other quarterbacks not following this, making sure that they have the necessary pieces around them to win and be competitive? And let's just touch on the fact that, Tampa Bay is really gearing up for, a back-to-back run.
I think a lot of it, Joe, you don't mind if I go first on this one?
Go ahead.
I think a lot of it has to do with how much Tom Brady has won and made as well. I think that's why it's a no-brainer for him now, because he's playing right now not for money. He's playing to be the best to where nobody ever beats him again. After 4 or 5 is when he started restructuring his contracts. You didn't see him doing that with his first or second big contract. Now he's got that money, and now it's like, okay, I'm not playing this game anymore because I need the money. I'm playing this game because I love the game. And the only way, and knowing the business is, the only way I'm going to continue to win is if I get the right pieces around me, and knowing the beast of the NFL, as in what it takes to bring winners and pay people. And I think he truly cares about teammates and getting them in the right position to A, make money, and B, win. And I think a lot of that has to do with it. I mean, the guys that you're looking at right now, obviously Patrick Mahomes restructured his contract, but he's also, I don't even know, he's making what, like $500 million or something? Like, what was his contract? Like, it was crazy high, right? So he's at the point where he's like, dude, I just got like 175 million guaranteed from you. Like, most quarterbacks in his league aren't even going to make that much in their career. So he's like, I can do this right now. I can restructure. I'm, however old he is, get our cap down to where I can get people and make another run, because he's trying to chase trophies. That's what they're trying to do over there. So, you go and look at guys like, Ryan Fitzpatrick's, or this guy's been played in the league and has made a ton of money, but he's not that star guy, but he'll take your team and help you win if you got pieces around him. But Tom Brady's just a different animal. Tom Brady's just a different animal, as in like I said, I truly believe that he could walk away today, but he loves the game too much. And that's what it is. I don't think it's about, I'm going to suck this guy for money, because he just loves the game that much. And he's the GOAT of GOATs right now, to be honest. And he's the top of the league and ahead of everybody else. And maybe him setting an example like that will set examples for lower people to keep the game going. But I doubt it. I 100% agree with you, Joe. So, all right, I'm going to shut up on that, but that's my point.
What you got, OG?
To piggyback off of one reason why they take 2. The reason why he can do that, Nick, is because his wife is a supermodel who makes more money than him. So he has that luxury, 1. And 2, like you said, he's just all about winning. So he's at the point now where he's made over 200, 300 million in his career. He don't care about the money anymore. He's rich. His wife is a supermodel. She's rich. He's rich. He just wants rings. So he'll restructure to get all his main pieces back, all his main guys back, all the core back, and just keep winning, and for people to keep hating him. Patrick Mahomes can do that because he doesn't make big money for another 2 seasons. But he's already made good money. He has an Adidas endorsement, so he's already making money anyway. So he can restructure because he's already making money. Other guys won't do that because other guys are just like, nah, I want to get paid. So Lamar Jackson probably won't do that in his career because Lamar Jackson's girlfriend ain't going to make what, Giselle makes. And he's not going to have an Adidas contract. Well, I don't think he will. He might have a Nike one, but he's not going to have a Patrick Mahomes Adidas contract and commercials and endorsements like Mahomes has. And he doesn't have a supermodel wife like Giselle, like Tom has. So he's going to take all the money he can. Same thing with Dak. Dak took all the money he could. He didn't have to take that contract from the Cowboys, but he was like, no, cut my check, Jerry. And Jerry cut the check. He's not giving no money back. He gonna take all that chicken, as Marshawn Lynch would say. He's gonna take all that chicken, right? He's gonna keep all that. Tom gave money back. And if they needed Tom to give more money back, I think he would do it. In a heartbeat. He'd say, yeah, take some more money back. Bring me, I don't care who it is.
He's made $263 million in his career, and he lost about $60 million in contract negotiations, cutting his contract. And
it ain't hurting one bit.
No. And Patrick Mahomes' total guarantees was $141 million.
Sheesh.
And it was a $450 million contract.
And his big doesn't hit for like 2 or 3 seasons, something like that.
Well, his cap hits are, but his base salaries are low. He's 1.5 for 2021. He's $990,000 base salary. 1.5 in 22, 5.5 in 23, 2.5 in 24, 2.5 in 25, 2.5 in 26, and then 27 it's 10 million, and it starts to jump from there. But his cap hits are pretty high. I mean, this year he's only taking a 7 million cap hit, but next year's a 35 million, then 46.
I think it's backloaded pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty much backloaded. I mean, after the first, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, there's probably outs in there. So, and he has a no trade clause. So,
they're not going to want out from him.
No. But I mean, 10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, we already see how he gets a lot of leg injuries, ankle injuries, things like that. So, you know, it only takes one injury.
That's it.
True. So let's talk. Let's stay on the Chiefs. Oh, my bad. OG, go ahead. My bad.
Last season in the playoffs against the Browns, one hit and he was gone for the whole second half. If they're playing Buffalo, we'd have had Buffalo and Tampa. Chiefs.
Yeah, but all right. So
the storyline wouldn't have been good enough for that.
Oh, that's another topic for another day.
Yeah,
we could talk about that all day. But let's stay on the Chiefs. Obviously, we talked about Mahomes restructuring. They were over the cap by a double-digit millions. I got a
32.1.
32. They were over
32.1 million.
Whew, that's a lot. So obviously they needed to, you know, cut bait somewhere. You know, they had to get rid of some contracts to get them closer to that, you know, $182.5 million number. With Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback and the injuries that you're talking about, do I think that it was necessary for them to cut that bait from their offensive line, especially their 2 starting tackles, even with the injuries that the both of them had? I don't think so. I don't know how you replace them immediately to protect, you know, your star quarterback, the face of the franchise and practically the face of the NFL, you know, with, you know, guys who aren't Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz at that caliber. But what's the outlook for the Chiefs, for Patrick Mahomes, getting rid of those 2 starting tackles? I know they were in heavy pursuit of Trent Williams. Thankfully, you know, we were able to beat them in that regard.
That's what I said on my Twitter.
Yes.
I was like, at least we were able to finish.
We were able to finish this one. Yeah. So, you know, at least we were able to, you know, outlast them in this regard and keep our left tackle with us instead of having him go over to Kansas City. But what's the outlook for the Chiefs losing 2 pretty solid starting tackles, you know, that are protecting Patrick Mahomes?
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm thinking what the outlook going to be.
I mean, there's really nothing to look. It's look out, Pat. That's what it is. Like
the outlook is what we saw a month ago in Tampa in Super Bowl. Him running for his life, throwing passes parallel to the ground, and the Chiefs looking like a preseason roster out there as an offense. That's the outcome. You got to protect him. They did go out there and sign the guy from the Patriots,
Looney or whatever.
Joe Thuney.
They did sign him. He's a guard.
They signed 2 guards. They signed 2 guards, but no tackles.
How long tonight? And that's
again. How long they signed today?
They're good on the inside, but you still don't have anybody protecting his blind side. Like,
but you heard. Sorry, go ahead.
So that's the outlook for it. I don't know. I don't know what they're up to sleep. They wanted Trent Williams. They didn't get him. Maybe they're gonna bring back Mitchell Sports or Eric Fisher on a cheaper salary. But for the most,
but my thing is, with the cap trouble that they were in, cutting Fisher and cutting Schwartz, having Mahomes restructure, how are they going to fit Trent Williams under that with the money that he got?
This morning when the numbers came out, before free agency officially started at 4 p.m., teams had time to get down to under the cap. They were at like 5.4 million. They had to cut again. They had to get under 5.4 million. But Travis Kelce also restructured. Patrick Mahomes, you cut the two tackles, one with an injury, one didn't play last year. And so they had it to get under, but if they get under, then they can work numbers in contracts to where it's only, Trent Williams is only like a 5 to 6 point. I think it's 6.7 cap hit this year. So like you could do it. It's just a matter of how you manipulate the numbers, more guaranteeds or whatever. But going back to what you were saying, Joe, it's funny because you look at Tampa, and I forget who it was on NFL Network, but he said, look, we knew Kansas City was cocky. Like we knew they were cocky, and that's why we were able to beat them. It's not our fault that they left their tackles on an island. Like he literally said that to him. He's like, they were cocky. We knew we were just going to come in and play our game and do what we were going to do because Kansas City will not move from their game plan, and they don't give their inside their tackles help. So we attacked it, and it's not my fault because somebody was saying, how do you feel about them complaining about the calls or penalties or this or that, or how much Patrick Mahomes was running around? He's like, ain't my fault they left their tackles on an island. And look at the two positions that they need this year. Tackles. You get guards.
That was Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah. But he said, we knew that they were cocky, and we knew that no matter what, they wouldn't change their scheme.
Yep.
We knew they were so cocky that they felt like they didn't need to make adjustments. And we were like, okay, if you're not going to adjust, we're going to keep throwing at you. We're going to keep firing at you. And until you stop it, until you show us something different, we're going to keep coming. And that's what they did for 60 minutes in that Super Bowl. They kept coming, and they held the Chiefs, which is looked at as the high. My cousin just came in with the big LOL. I see you watching, cuz he's the Chiefs fan. I need to send him the link to get him on here so we could trash him a little bit for that L that they took. I see you, Terrence. Yeah, we talking about your squad, but yeah. I definitely want to get his thoughts too. Maybe we can get that after this and put something out later. What the plans are, to fill those tackle spots, especially now since they got rid of Fisher and Schwartz. Like you said, Nick, they may bring them back on more team friendly deals. But I mean, if that's the case, why not just rework the contracts? You restructured Mahomes, who I think they restructured Chris Jones as well, Travis Kelce. A couple guys restructured their contracts. So why not just rework their deals to get them to where you need to be instead of cutting them? But, it's definitely hard to find one, high quality starting tackle, let alone two. And the Chiefs just got rid of both of them. So good luck to Patrick Mahomes. He might be complaining like Russell Wilson is about his offensive line in the near future.
They might not have done it that way only because of the fact they had to get everybody else. They had to get to a certain number and then see how much they had to restructure the new guys. So, okay, we can get rid of these guys with minimal cap hit or no cap hit, however they did it. Get to a number where they need to do, and then they know that, okay, we're going to try to restructure these guys to get to that number where we want. And then we can go back and re-sign these guys. So it might have just been let's see where we're at or where we need to be, and then work on that from that standpoint.
Last topic here in free agency, the New England Patriots. Buffalo Wild Bill They said, man, I'm sparing no expense this year, and it was a graphic that came out that said over the past 10 years, New England has spent somewhere about $360 million on free agents total in 10 years. So far, in 2 days of free agency, they spent over $200 million on players. And we could run through the list. Tight end Hunter Henry, tight end Jonnu Smith, wide receiver Kendrick Bourne. Shout out KB. We're going to miss you. Nelson Aguilar, Matthew Judon, Devon Gottschall from Miami, Jalen Mills from the Eagles. They spared no expense. 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, some help on defense. What's going on in New England, man? What's going on with Bill's psyche? What's going on in his mind to make him go against his norm and actually open up the wallet and spend some bread this year? Talk to me.
He knew he had to get better. Period. They weren't a good team last season. They had some opt-outs because of COVID, whatever, but they weren't a good team last year. So he knew he had to get better. He knew he had to build that team around Cam Newton because that's not the same Cam Newton that was in Carolina. So he went out there and he did what he normally do. Got 2 really good tight ends. He got 2 really good tight ends. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play action. Throw the tight end.
He must have had a phone call.
I don't know who it was.
You back now, yeah, because it muted you when you were talking.
No,
so I was like, oh, he must have had a phone call.
They're gonna run the ball. They're gonna run the ball, play action. That's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, and earlier I was saying to you, Mose, I was saying that they could be doing one thing, and that's preparing for Jimmy Garoppolo. Where does Jimmy Garoppolo like to attack? The middle of the field. You getting 2 tight end sets again, and if you go back and you look at Bill Belichick's history, he loved to attack the middle of the field and then just throw it up and open up downfield 1 or 2 times a game. Obviously, not the year he had Randy Moss; it was just all deep balls. But, he likes the middle of the field. He likes to attack the middle of the field, and there's so much more you can scheme across the middle of the field and the way you set things up in your offensive scheme. But it also goes to Cam Newton. If Cam Newton is going to be that starting quarterback, he does not have the arm power that he used to. And you have to be able to have a quarterback get the football to your receivers. Now, not that Cam was throwing the ball on target or with precision across the middle of the field last year either. But, another year. What's that, Joe?
Said, he wasn't. Cam was trash last year, period.
Yeah.
Period.
Definitely trash. But, look, you go out and look, Bill's got a chip on his shoulder because a lot of people said, did Tom Brady make Bill Belichick? And that's what it boiled down to. It literally started boiling down to Tom Brady left New England, won a Super Bowl. Instead of us talking about Bill Belichick and making Tom Brady, did Tom Brady make Bill Belichick? Just like Russell Wilson made Pete Carroll, Tom Brady may have made Bill Belichick. And we don't know how much of that was. We know that one contender left, won a Super Bowl, and the other all-pro coach couldn't even make a playoff. So Brady may have a chip on his shoulder, whether it's with the organization because, Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick didn't want to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo in the first place. He wanted Jimmy Garoppolo, but Robert Kraft wanted to keep Tom Brady. And that's why we end up with Jimmy Garoppolo. But he's definitely got a chip on his shoulder. He's out to prove that he is still the coach who he is without Tom Brady. That's what I think it's all about.
He went out there to spin that way too. He's really going to try to. That's why they're going to run the ball, play action, throw the tight end. They'll take their deep shots with Bourne and with Davis, but I don't see Bourne and Davis having great seasons.
Yeah.
A lot of tight end stuff, a lot of play action, a lot of running the ball. They did it last year. They ran the ball last year with Cam Newton and their running backs. And they got 7 wins out of it. Cam didn't have a great season. Cam was skipping slants skipping outs. So they're going to make it easier for him this year. They got to build a team around it. They're going to make it real easy for him.
He didn't miss a beat on that gum, though.
Man, I'm excited to see what they're able to do, especially going out and getting the 2 tight ends that they got, although, makeup wise, they're different players. I see this New England offense, coming up in 2021, a lot of reminiscence of, Gronk and Hernandez, rest in peace, Aaron Hernandez. But, that 2 tight end set in New England, utilizing those tight ends all over the field. Both Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith have proven that, they're more than just, just a standard tight end. They can run all type of routes. They know how to get open and create separation. So whether it's Cam Newton or whether it's Jimmy G, I'm excited to see what Josh McDaniels is able to cook up with them boys. All right, let's move to our next.
A lot of that, real quick, Marcus, a lot of that could be on Robert Kraft as well, telling him that he needs to do something. And the reason I say that is because you remember that there was a lot of animosity between Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick going on. And Robert Kraft could probably be like, yo, we wasted 2 third-round picks on 2 tight ends. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not drafting these guys. These guys are on the market. Go get them. Like, if that's what you need in your system, go get them. Go get what you need in your system. And basically telling him, I don't care. Go spend the money. And he could have been holding them back before from spending money. So Robert Kraft definitely has a lot to do with it as well.
Definitely. All right, let's move to, a couple of trade scenarios. Some ones we talked about before, obviously with the 2 big quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. With Deshaun, we're going to be very careful with how we discuss this. Obviously, there have been allegations that come out, and as men that have significant others, moms, sisters, aunts, cousins, daughters, we take allegations like that very seriously. We don't want to disparage anybody. We don't have all the information. We don't want to say what's true and what's not true. We're just going to talk about that situation in general between Houston and Deshaun Watson, everything that's going on. What does this mean for his trade value? What does this mean for the situation going forward? Is this, at a point, we talked last time when we were on here that it's at a point of no return. OG, you mentioned, you can't make someone love you, so we were already talking about it being at a point where it was not salvageable, right? But, with this added piece of information, where do we go from here with the Deshaun Watson, Houston Texans saga?
You have to let everything play out. You don't know what's true. We don't know what's true, what's not true. There's going to be a lot of stories coming out over the next couple of days because they said there was like 3 or 4 more women that are supposed to come out with allegations. Let everything play out. And I think Houston's going to have to move him. But them moving him now with all this stuff going on just lowers their asking price. Because if any of it is true, he's going to face a 6 to 8 game suspension. If any of it is true, if any of it is found true. So it's going to lower their asking price. So if it's a smear campaign, they're only hurting themselves. Who was that? You?
That was me. My bad.
Okay. So if it's a smear campaign, they're going to
two rookies. 2 rookies.
I'm a guest. I don't do this often, so I am a guest. This is y'all thing. This is Mo's show, and Nick, you have your own show. I'm a guest.
Nah, you're not a guest here.
You gotta let everything play out. I mean, that's basically what happens. You gotta let it all play out. But I think personally something's gonna happen before the draft. Especially if none of this is true. And Houston hasn't came out yet and said anything about we're going to stand behind Deshaun Watson. Nothing. They haven't came out and said a thing yet. So this is not making them look good to him at all. Just let it play out. See what happens.
we already talked about this last time, and it's like, like Joe said, you can't make somebody love you, and that's kind of where, like we said, the situation's at right now. You go and you look at everything that's come out since then, and it's just, God hope these accusations aren't correct or real or anything like that. But then again, if they're not true, this is, you're defaming a guy. Like you're putting this out on him, and it's, and you're obviously, high up in Texas and things like that. But that's needless to say, any of that stuff. It's just, in the end, man, we got to understand that everybody's innocent until proven guilty with that whole anything in life. You're hurting this guy, as in for his career moving forward, if it's true or if it's not true, either way. But in the end, Houston has to make that decision. And like Joe said, the asking price is getting lower and lower as it gets closer to the draft. It's not even about anything else that's going on. The longer and longer you wait and people start to fill their teams with quarterbacks, or, let's say Deshaun Watson was plan A. Well, we're not moving from him. They called you 5 times. We're not moving from him. Okay, well, we got to go to plan B. We're going to sign somebody else. And we're going to pay that guy a certain amount of money to be here. Now you go and cut him. You're losing all that money. And then you have to provide for Deshaun Watson. So I think this is why we haven't really heard anything from, Mike Silver went on today and is adamant that Deshaun Watson is going to be moved. And things have changed in Houston from Deshaun Watson's our quarterback to Deshaun Watson's still our quarterback to Deshaun Watson's our quarterback right now.
Keyword is right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it keeps changing as the draft is getting closer and they realize that Deshaun Watson means business. I'm not going to play with you. Nick Caserio calls him all the time. He's not picking up the phone. He's getting the old voicemail box like, beep, leave a message. He's not getting it. So no matter what you try, bro, like you've already ruined that relationship. Maybe not you in general, Nick Caserio, but the front office in that organization has ruined that for Deshaun Watson and him and them. But Joe, you're 100% right. This has to get done before draft day. And
yeah,
with all things right, obviously, with everything going on, I wouldn't even be surprised if we see it 10 minutes before the draft. Or a person who's about to pick, like in the first round somewhere, then a trade happens. My ears on the draft day, my ears are going to be open for a trade at every single pick. I don't care if it's pick number 1. Because who knows? Jacksonville might swoop in and say, okay, well, we can get Trevor Lawrence, but Deshaun Watson is just as good and he has NFL experience, and bang, let's make the trade for him.
Right. He's only 25.
Right. He's 25 years old. So, and Jacksonville has the money. So that it could be like, okay, well, you want pick number 1? Pick number 1 overall. This isn't pick 10, pick 12, pick 15. This is number 1 pick overall. That's got to say something.
The only drawback to that is that Deshaun has a no trade clause.
Right.
So whoever calls, if he doesn't want to, if somebody calls and says, we want him here, he goes, I don't want to play there, then you can't move him there because he has a no trade clause.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with that. I'm okay with players using their stage and saying what they want to do with their career. Right. I'm okay with that.
That's why we go back to the franchise tags. Why are you allowed to use a franchise tag on me, but
right?
A lot of people can't even put a no trade clause in their contract.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, he'll definitely be moved. I think it'll happen either right up to draft, or we're not far from draft. What are we? A month?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that'll be here in no time.
Yeah, that'll be here in no time. So,
I mean, next week is 22nd. So yeah, it'll be here in no time. I think it's gonna be happening before the draft.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen before the draft. I think once the free agency period slows down and all the pro days are done and people start getting their draft boards together. I think that happened before. I think if there's something going to happen, I think it's going to happen the beginning of the month, beginning of April. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's going to drag out to the. I mean, it may drag out to the draft, but I don't think it will.
So here's an option for you, right? So let's say Deshaun really says he's only going to play for San Francisco or Denver, as it was said.
Right.
And Houston puts on a board and says, hey, you know what? Well, with all these accusations and everything else, then if you don't want to pick, if you can't give us another team to trade you to, we're just going to cut you. You lose all that money. You lose all that money. Or what are you saying is Deshaun?
Cut me.
Thank you.
Right?
Cut me.
Thank
Right.
you. That sounds about Houston anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see them
Do
doing
all of
that.
do all of this, drag all of this out just to cut him anyway.
That sounds
And now
about
he's
stupid.
free to go talk to whoever he wants.
Yep.
And if he's like, if he has to go to them and say, you know, these accusations are false, you can trust me. Here's all the information from the investigation. I'm here to play. I'm here to win. Or if he got to go to it and keep it 100, like, look, this really did happen. I was young. I was stupid. I made a mistake. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. Okay, I'm being honest with y'all because I want to play here. You know, we might have to, you know, sit me out 6 games, 8 games, whatever the case may be. You know, I know my contract got to be team friendly or whatever the case. I'll sign that deal, prove to you that I'm not that same person, win on the field, and then we can renegotiate later. Cut me.
The only problem is with cutting, they're going to lose like $54 million or something like that.
Who, Houston?
Houston.
That sounds about Houston.
If I'm Deshaun, it's above me now. That's not my problem.
Right? No. I'm saying, but that's the only reason that would hold them back from cutting him is losing $54 million. And Joe's like, nah, that's just the Houston way, bro.
This is the same Houston team who just traded DeAndre Hopkins, one of the top 2 receivers in the NFL, last season for a broke down running back and draft picks.
Mm-hmm. And the draft picks weren't even good.
$54 million. That's a lot of money.
It's the same Houston team that traded all their first round picks to Miami for a left tackle.
For Laramie Tunsil. And that's why Miami has the 3rd overall pick right now.
And their second first round, and their own first round pick.
Yep. 18.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
They got two in the top 20.
Yeah.
Thanks, Houston. Appreciate you.
So Houston cutting Deshaun Watson sounds about Houston. It does. I wouldn't be shocked they cut him. And you would have anywhere from 25 to 30 teams on the phone asking for him.
On the phone now.
All teams would do it.
Well, excluding the Packers, the Chiefs.
I think the Packers would do it too. Only 2 teams I would exclude would be the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. I think the Packers would be on. Okay, Buffalo.
I wouldn't even exclude the Buccaneers because Tom Brady's on a year-to-year basis contract.
Tom Terrific got to retire at some point.
And if something is going on with Deshaun Watson, you get to sit him.
And then Tom wins another Super Bowl,
retires, and rides off into the sunset, and then they turn it over to Deshaun, and they still win Super Bowls. See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even put it. And I wouldn't put it past Seattle either.
Oh no! If I was and we'll get to that in a minute. If I was Seattle, I'd sign Deshaun Watson, and then I'm free to trade Russell Wilson. Perfect segue. Appreciate that, Nick. Nick, do me a favor. Can you look up that proposed trade that the Bears sent to Seattle that they turned down?
Yeah, it was 3 first.
And they should be slapped for?
It was 3 first-round picks, a 3rd-round pick, and 2 starters.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
And a partridge in a pear tree. Now, I don't know who the 2 starters are, but I'm
sure one of them is a corner.
Yeah,
because Seattle just lost Shaquille Griffin. They need a corner. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Kyle Fuller.
I won't be surprised if the other starter was Khalil Mack or Allen Robinson.
Yeah, Allen Robinson wants out. He wants a new deal. They don't want to pay him. They can trade him, get him off the franchise tag. No sweat off their back.
Pete Carroll loves defense. Khalil Mack could have been the other starter.
Another wide receiver is off the board. Rashard Higgins is going back to the Browns for a year.
Yeah, I mean, 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, all not. I'm sure they weren't all this year, especially the first-round picks, but at least one of the first and the third were from this year, and then probably first-round picks from probably the following 2 years. I want to say 2022 and 2023.
Yeah. It
So
just
you would
said
have
3 first-round picks, so it didn't
3
say what
first-round picks, a third, and 2 starters, and they said no.
Yeah. And it's funny that they said no, right? And I understand. Like, I was talking to Mike about this too, and he's like, I would have turned that down too, because Russell Wilson is one of the top quarterbacks in this league, right? And Seattle is also nothing without Russell Wilson. So you need Russell Wilson to win there in Seattle, right? And it's been a proven point. They have no offensive line. Their run game has been back and forth. Russell Wilson carries that football team or throws that football team, however you want to look at it. But then it goes and shows me, like, if there was so much animosity between you and Pete Carroll and you thought that you guys are even looking to trade him, that's the best deal you're going to get.
Yeah, you're not getting that, bro.
So is there really that animosity that you guys are saying is in Seattle, or is this just a front on the media side? Because I know if somebody's coming to me and says, hey, like, we'll give you 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and 2 starters, and I say, okay, I like that, but what starters are they? Oh, I don't like that second starter. Give me such and such. Let's sweeten the deal a little bit more.
Right. Go. You have that.
You could have took an offensive lineman. You could have took something that you wanted, because you could have counteracted and said, hey, I like this offer, but I don't like the 2 guys you're adding in as the starters. I want such and such. If this isn't enough for me, I'm going to take who I want from you.
Right.
So it shows me that, A, there's not really that much animosity going on in Seattle, because Chicago tried, and it wasn't Pete Carroll that turned down the trade. It was Snead, or that's his name, right? What's the GM's name over there?
Is it Snyder?
Schneider. I'm thinking Rams. It was Schneider. Schneider. They went to dinner that night that Chicago signed Andy Dalton. They were out to dinner with Schneider, and they could not get the terms to match of what they wanted to do.
I think I heard today too that this happened at Trey Lance's pro day.
Yeah, so it started there. Yep. And they went to dinner. They just couldn't get something to meet. Schneider's the one that turned it down. So then the Bears went and signed Andy Dalton, because they were waiting to sign a quarterback to compete or get their guy they wanted, and waiting on that offer to see what would happen. So the Bears were true about it, but Seattle wasn't. So that just shows me, are you being stingy and greedy because Russell Wilson's your guy, or are you being stingy and greedy because there really is no animosity between you guys?
I think the animosity there is real because of the recent free agent acquisition they just did. They just picked up 2 offensive linemen. Ruff's complaining about getting hit too much, so they went out there and improved their offensive line in the best division in football. So I think the animosity is there. I don't think they were being greedy enough, Seattle, because they could have got anything they wanted from Chicago, like you said, Nick. Anything. Well, we don't want Khalil Mack. He's older and longer in the tooth. Give us this starter and this starter. We don't like those 2 starters. Give us this starter and this starter. We don't want this third. Give us a second or whatever. They could have been greedy as they wanted to. I think Seattle was scared to move Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Oh, they're definitely scared because they know that they're not winning football games.
No, they were scared to move Russell Wilson because there's going to be a lot of pushback from Seattle, because Russell is Seattle, and there's nothing else in Seattle but Russell Wilson, the Seahawks, and Sierra. So you trade.
You think it rains a lot there now?
Oh gosh, you trade
Russell Wilson.
You trade Russell Wilson, you have no backup quarterback to give the football team to. You're going to go out there and get who? Mariota? Are you going to sign Andy Dalton? Are you going to put Mariota in the NFC West, the best division in football? Seattle would have won 6 games next season. I wouldn't have cared, but I think personally they were scared to move Russell Wilson because they didn't want to get the pushback from the fans. So they went out there and said, all right, Russell, you win. We're going to get you 2 linemen from Las Vegas to try to keep you from getting hit too much. But that handles some problems. The other problem, DK came out and said the other problem was they run a vanilla offense.
Mm-hmm.
Run, play action, over the top. So you didn't handle the total problem. You just handled some problem. You put a Band-Aid over a stab wound. That's all you did. There's still some bleeding there.
All good points, fellas. All good points.
Again, I don't care though. I'm here for all Seattle mishaps and fighting than they do.
For sure. Don't care about their happiness, about their success. Look, trade Russell, get whatever you can, get him out of my division.
I hope it rains 365 days in Seattle. I don't care about y'all weather, nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nope.
All right, let's we're on our final 2 topics. These shouldn't take us too long, and then we'll be out of y'all here. Appreciate y'all rocking with us. We had a few retirements. It was announced that Drew Brees has decided to retire. 2 Carolina Panthers also decided to hang their cleats up. And linebacker Thomas Davis and tight end Greg Olsen, both of those teammates, they retired together. I believe it was either Greg Olsen's birthday that day or his birthday was somewhere around that time. So what do you got? Any fond memories of either one of those players in their retirement, seeing them all from the NFL? What you got on any one of those guys, fellas?
I don't have much on Thomas Davis or Greg Olsen. I think they're both 2 solid pros. Thomas Davis, I think he blew out both his knees, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
At one point in his career, back-to-back seasons. I think twice in 1 year or something like that. It was something crazy like that where he came back to play, 16, 17, almost 18 years in the NFL, middle linebacker. He had a nice career. Greg Olsen was a really good tight end for Cam Newton when Cam Newton won his MVP season, when Cam was Cam. So, I mean, they're two good players. Congratulations on your career. As for Drew Brees, he retired. His arm retired
like 7 years ago.
7 years ago. The water pistol finally set in. So, Drew has been finished. In my opinion, Drew has been done. His arm was going a long time ago. All he threw was slants and 15-yard post routes. So we'll see how good Sean Payton is now with Jameis Winston and
Mr. Eat a W.
Yeah.
Let me ask you that. Who's winning that competition there?
I think Tim Tebow Light is going to win it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think Tim Tebow Light is going to be a starting quarterback for the Saints.
And Jameis will be his backup?
And I think they're going to struggle all season.
I think so. Listen, I might be biased or whatever. I'm not signing nobody that says we're going to eat a W and proceeds to make his fingers like this and go, who want to eat a W?
I'm just thinking,
I'm not signing that guy.
On my show, before they even...
I'm not doing it.
On Nothing But Niners, before they even signed Jameis Winston, I said they'll sign Jameis Winston, but it won't be for a lot of money, and they'll bring him in to compete with Taysom Hill. And I said, and it's sad because Taysom Hill will be the starter, Jameis Winston won't. And I got, you're going to be eating crow. So I'm going to have to eat something weird if Taysom Hill's not the starter there. But I said to Mike, and I said, wait, so if Taysom Hill wins, y'all don't got to eat nothing? He's like, nah, that wasn't the deal.
No, they're going to eat it. They're going to have to eat a W.
You got to eat it too because you got to eat that W, bro.
You gotta eat that.
But
I'm not.
I think Jameis Winston's done.
I'll eat
You
crow
think so?
if he beats him out, but I personally feel like Sean Payton is going to give the job to Tim Tebow Light. I just think he is. Now, if Jameis beats him out, I'll eat crow and I'll pull for Jameis, but I just don't think he's going to give the job to Jameis.
I don't think so either.
I really think it was a big part of Taysom signing that big contract, which is voidable years.
The fakest contract in NFL history.
Well, I don't know. Gronk's got a fake contract too, because he's got his is technically a 5-year deal too, with all voidable years except for one. So, but Taysom Hill, like, he's been sticking there because he wants to be a starter, and I think Sean Payton really likes him.
He does,
and that's why, like, people are like, "Oh, there's no way that Taysom's going to beat out Jameis Winston." Look, Taysom Hill can throw the football. He can run. He's physical. Like, he gives you a lot more than he may not give you all the football smarts that Jameis gives you because he's played in the league, but athletic ability, he's more of an athlete than Jameis Winston is.
And he's been in the offense longer, and all the burn that he's been getting, he's had to know the offense from not only a runner and a receiver standpoint, but also as a quarterback, because Sean Payton used him in all three facets. So he has a very, very solid working knowledge of this offense, which gives him the heads up. And I think that's, like you said, that's why he signed the contract he signed. And that's why Sean Payton always made it a point to get him involved in the offense. Not because he was a gadget guy or because he can do special things with the football. I think it was preparing him for this moment. When Drew Brees decided to walk away, Taysom Hill was going to be, the heir to the throne.
When you bring a guy in a crucial moment in a football game at like a 4th and 1, and the guy and you trust him throwing a 30-yard bomb, you have a lot of trust in that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because teams are thinking that he's going to run, and you're trusting his arm, and you're calling a play that's downfield. You got a lot of trust in that guy.
But Sean Payton is going to have to change his playbook next season, because there is tape out now of Taysom Hill and what he likes to do when he's in the game. And now he's a starter. So if you're a starter now we can prepare for you better than we did before with your gadget plays. So he's going to have to be a quarterback, which, again, hurt Tim Tebow in his career because he couldn't play quarterback. So Taysom ain't going to be able to get away with the stuff that Lamar gets away with, because Lamar just runs a 4.240. Taysom doesn't run that. And he can't be running into middle linebackers 10, 15 times a game, or he's not going to make it to week 3.
Right.
So he has
to learn how to. As long as he is the starter for the first play of the game, he is technically starting the season. That's all I care about. I don't care.
He has to be different. He has to be a different player if he beats out Jameis Winston. Which
I don't care if he comes out play number 2 and doesn't play another snap. If he comes out the first play of the season, Taysom Hill is your starter.
And we were right.
Yeah, we were right.
We were right. That's all that matters. We were right.
And we get to eat that W.
The last thing I'm going to say on this topic, man, you can't really say much about Drew Brees as far as hate. He's had an outstanding career. I think he has like 12 or 13 NFL records. He pretty much revitalized the city of New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. He rallied that city around one another, around this concept of family and togetherness and brotherhood and this football team. And he's a Super Bowl champion, because of it. So, you can't, hate on him too much. The only reason why I can't stand him is because he's a crybaby. And he cost us the number 1 seed that year when Ahmad Brooks had a great tackle. And then all of a sudden, Drew Brees' neck elongated to 7.5 inches. And they called, a personal foul, a legal hit to the head of the quarterback. And you could see it on the Jumbotron in slow motion that Ahmad Brooks' arm is here across his chest. There's no contact with the head or neck area. And Drew Brees' neck is as long as a giraffe's. And he got that call. He got up and cried. And then after he got the call, you seen him smirk under his helmet. And I couldn't stand him ever since. I never got to see Drew Brees in person. up close where I could like try to swing on him. Although I know I probably would have been arrested in like 5 seconds. But like I wanted to swing on him to see if his neck would do the same thing, and then I could say I have proof, and y'all have to go back and change this call, even though it wouldn't have did nothing.
Don't we play them again? Don't we play them again this season?
I feel like we always play them, and I feel like we always play them in New Orleans.
Same here. I said that too. I think we played them again this season, again in New Orleans.
I don't think that it shows the away opponents. Is New Orleans an away opponent?
That's what I'm looking at now.
Let me see.
No, not this year. Tennessee.
Okay.
Because we can't because we play the same team with the same, who finished last in our division. So last year we got
Tennessee. We got Tennessee, Atlanta, Indy. Defoe's coming back. We play Houston. That would be cool if we get Deshaun. Minnesota, Green Bay, Philly at Philly. I'm gonna be at that game.
I'll be at the Philly. We play Green Bay.
Yeah, we play Green Bay
at home.
It's at home. We got Chicago. Right. I gotta hit up my cousin Sid. We play Detroit. Might have to talk to my uncle about that one, and then we play Jacksonville.
The only game I want to go see in person is Tennessee and Indianapolis.
Yeah, I would love to go to Tennessee this year.
Yeah.
I heard Nashville's a really nice time.
Oh, Nashville's fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Rashard Higgins is only doing a 1-year, $2.8 million fully guaranteed deal. And Kyle Van Noy is going back to Patriots.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, Higgins is going to be the fourth wide receiver there anyway.
So Juju is still on the streets, and Kenny Galladay is going to visit the Giants.
Yep. And also Tate's still out there. There's a lot of guys that are still out there.
Somebody offered Galladay. I just saw it not too long ago. Somebody has an offer on the table for Galladay. I think it was Cincinnati, but I'm not 100%.
The only thing I seen with Galladay was that the Giants were bringing him in for a visit.
They were talking about it, yeah.
Hold
on, let me go to my Bleacher Report. Shout out to Bleacher Report. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Report. I got The Athletic. I got ESPN. I got PFF on Twitter. Yeah, I got it all.
Somebody offered him. Hold on. I know I saw it. It was the Bengals. Cincinnati. A free agent wide receiver received offer from Cincinnati. No decision has been made, and he is planning to visit the Giants. So Cincinnati has an offer on the table for him. I don't know if it shows me what the offer is.
That'd be good for Joey B.
It would be. And then,
Joey B.
And then at number 5, they can focus on offensive line. They can either get Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater at 5.
Which they should
have to focus on wide receiver.
Am I crazy if I say this? But I think Juju needs another guy around him.
No, Juju's number 2.
He does. He's not number 1.
Number 2.
Right, some people think that I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm crazy, but I think that I think that he definitely needs somebody around him because you've seen a lack of production from him once Antonio Brown left.
For sure.
And the Steelers thinking that he could take over as that number 1 guy, but he's just not that guy.
That's why that's why he's on the street still, because they don't want to pay him number 1 money.
That's why he fell to the second round.
Yeah.
That's why he fell to the second round when he came out in the draft. Juju was one of the top-rated receivers in college, but when it came to his draft stock, he fell because teams knew this guy's not number 1. He's definitely a solid number 2. He's like he's a TJ Houshmandzadeh. You know, exactly. When TJ left and went to the Raiders, he wasn't the same guy.
Neither was Ocho Cinco when he left and went to the Patriots.
I wouldn't mind him in San Francisco with us. He'd be perfect with us.
You put Juju, Brandon, and Debo together?
Crazy.
Deshaun?
Plus George.
Crazy.
Plus George, yeah.
Yeah,
crazy.
George.
Even with Jimmy playing quarterback, that's what we need to do. We got to build a cocoon around Jimmy.
Yep.
I would love him in San Fran, but he's gonna want top tier money, and he's not top tier talent.
All right, that was actually the wrap up. of who's left, and I sent y'all this in the text if y'all need to look it up. Give me y'all top free agent and your best landing spot for that player.
Well,
outside of Juju, because we already talked about Juju and him coming to San Fran. And then based on this list, Curtis Samuel, he's in Washington now. Patrick Peterson is with Minnesota, and Kyle Van Noy is with
Patriots. Hassan Reddick is signed too.
Where's he going?
He went to.
Damn, I just saw that 1 year deal too for $8 million.
Yeah, Carolina. 1 year deal, $8 million. Where was it? Carolina. Yeah.
Ooh, him opposite Brian Burns.
Yeah,
that might be good for him. Brian Burns is a beast.
I think we need to go receiver here. So I would actually be okay with Will Fuller, to be honest with you.
One trick pony.
And he's injured a lot.
Yeah, but who else is good on there receiver wise? That's not that there. You could take Antonio Brown, but he's gonna want money, and I'm not really wanting all that drama.
Nah, we don't need that.
So you use Will Fuller as as an outside guy or a slot guy. He can play the slot too.
He is a burner.
So you use him like Goodwin You use him like Goodwin was used in Buffalo as a slot guy.
That one trick is a good trick.
That's true.
And especially with Kyle Shanahan's offense, you hit him with a good. If he gets one good route across the middle on a slant, it's pay dirt. And you got Brandon and Debo on the outsides with a good run game. Yeah. I take a 1 year deal on Will Fuller and see how he pans out. Only to see, I'm only saying a 1 year deal because we don't know what we're getting out of Juwan Jennings. You don't know what you're getting out of Jalen Hurd. You know, who are you going to go in with your slot as right now? You lost KB.
Right.
Is a guy that you wanted to have back.
Richie James, man, why are we not giving Richie James more burn?
You gotta ask Kyle.
I think up here. I think that's what it is.
In the spots that he's played in, and especially last year when he had to step up when he had all those injuries.
He had 180-yard reception game.
Cooking.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't have to be the number one guy, but you call him to make 2 or 3 plays a game, Richie can do it.
Yeah, but would you rather have Richie there or Will Fuller? Let's be honest. If you can afford both of them, let's just say if you have your option over, okay.
This isn't a good question for me.
Fuller or you can have James. Which one you taking?
This isn't a good question for me because I'm biased. I love Richie James when we drafted him. And I kind of compared him, from the tape that I watched of him. I compared him to a poor man's Antonio Brown. Now, I knew he wasn't going to be Antonio Brown or not even Antonio Brown-like. But what he was able to do, I saw shades of Antonio Brown in him. And in this offense, especially where we're not asking him to be the number one guy, just come in and make plays with his speed, with his agility and his shiftiness, the fact that he knows the offense, and 2, he doesn't get injured as much as Will Fuller does. I'm taking Richie. Keep the guy you already got in-house and put him to work.
The thing with Richie for me is there's something going on behind scenes because he's had plenty of opportunity to beat out guys and play. And guys just kept going above him. And, you got guys like Dante Pettis that we drafted in the 3rd round and was playing ahead of him when we knew Kyle Shanahan didn't like him. And even in certain, even if it was 1 to 2 snaps a game, we're giving him to Dante Pettis instead of Richie James. And then Richie James starts to get to be able to play because of injuries, and that's the only reason that he got his opportunity. And you bring him in here as a return specialist, but he looks so hesitant with returning compared to what he did in college. He's more about let's make the moves instead of just going for it. And then when he goes for it, he gets good yardage. But that's the thing that scares me, is he just mentally not there to where he doesn't. You heard Debo say the other day when he was on the interview with Prime, and then that it wasn't just Emmanuel Sanders that helped him, but Emmanuel Sanders helped him come along so much because he didn't know the playbook until week 8. Like, he's like, I knew it, but I didn't know it. Like, I was completely lost. So it takes a lot of smarts to be in this offense. And does Richie James have all those smarts? I'm not trying to, downgrade any intellectual, you know what I'm saying?
Take two.
Intellectual. I'm not saying he's a dumb guy or anything like that. So I don't want people to think that. But he's had opportunities to move up the chain, and everybody has just surpassed him. Kendrick Bourne, when he was having all those drops in those years that he was having, we just kept riding with KB because he was progressing every year. So Richie James is like, you get the opportunity, like you're a man, like go on the field and show that you can do this. And I'm sure you'll get the opportunity, but that's what scares me about Richie James. I think he has all the athleticism in the world, but does he have it up here? And that's what scares me, because he would have gotten more starts, because if you look back, Kyle Shanahan only started him when he needed to because of an injury. He got in because of injuries, and that's how he got in. So do you prolong a guy's career and then, he can't do it, as in let's put him in there? That's the only thing that scares me. I mean, I hope to God that he can get the playbook. I like Richie James. I like what he can bring to the table, but I just don't see it. That's the only thing that scares me.
OG, who's your one free agent who you like on that list or that you know of, and what you think is a good spot for him?
Well, like I told you before, I've always had a love affair for Ndamukong Suh, but I think he's going back to Tampa Bay because he's negotiating his own contract with Tampa Bay. So I think he's going back there. The Eagles just released Malik Jackson, another nose tackle guy up front, who can come in and be some D-line depth.
Malik Jackson signed.
I thought he got released today. He signed and released. He got released earlier today.
Yeah, he got released and he signed with somebody.
Okay. I'm not against Will Fuller because he is a one-trick pony, but that one-trick pony is a damn good one-trick pony. For some reason, I like Juju in our offense with the other guys around him. He shouldn't come expensive because you've been on the streets for a couple of days now. You're not getting any contracts. So he shouldn't be expensive, but I like Juju in our offense with all the other guys around him. We're not asking him to be a number one. He doesn't have to be out there like DeAndre Hopkins or something like that. It just gives defense somebody else to worry about and look for. And he can run every route in a route tree. He's tough across the middle. He has good hands. So I like him in our offense.
What about old man Fitz? He's a free agent now too.
Fitz will be great in the locker room, and Fitz is great in the locker room, and he's a veteran. That's the best thing about Fitz is that he would teach Brandon and Debo how to be pros and better receivers from day one. Absolutely, I would love Fitz in the receiver room, and he's not. He doesn't care if he catches one ball or 100 balls. He's still going to be the same player for 16, 17 weeks, and he's still a damn good blocker at his position.
Yep.
In our offense, you have to block.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was just going to say that.
So Fitz is somebody that I wouldn't mind having either.
I forgot about him because he just became a free agent today because they couldn't come to a deal. So
they signed AJ Green. Yeah.
And then they went and signed AJ Green. So you know that he's not going back if they're signing AJ Green.
Right.
Yeah. Outside of the 49ers, if I'm looking at this list, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if he's signed yet. Chris Carson, the running back?
Nope.
He signed with anybody yet?
No, I don't think I haven't seen him get signed.
Honestly, I think a good spot for him would be Miami. Miami needs a number one running back. And I think with the way he runs the ball, as hard as he runs the ball, if they can get that offensive line together, Chris Carson in that offense, to kind of take some of the pressure off of Tua, and especially if they're able to get, one of the top receivers in the draft, either at 3 or at 18, add somebody with Devontae Parker. You already got Mike Gesicki at tight end, Tua as your quarterback, and now you got, a number one running back in Chris Carson. I think that would be a good signing for them. Get them that, number one bell cow running back that they can lean on when they need to. They weren't they weren't that far off. I think what were they, 11-5 last year, 10-6.
Yeah, they missed it by like a game.
Yeah, they missed the playoffs by like a game, so they're not far off. So that would be my one free agent. Any last minute?
Hold on, one more thing. But I did say on a different, like on Facebook, I would like to see Juju in San Diego as well.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
With Justin Herbert.
With Herbert
and Keenan Allen
and Mike Williams.
Mikey Williams. Like I like that's a really good fit for him as well. And San Diego.
Mose, I could see Carson a good fit in Philadelphia as well.
Ooh.
Or New England too with Carson.
Because we don't know what Philly's going to run, and they have a lot of scat backs right now.
True.
So smaller scat backs. So they make, because that's what Doug Peterson ran. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Eagles pick up a pounder, whether it's in the draft or free agency. But Chris Carson is a guy that could spell with Miles Sanders type thing in Philadelphia as well. And then to give Jalen Hurts a little bit of a, backfield to where they can run 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s, whatever, 2nd and 3s, and pound the ball compared to that scat back stuff.
Yeah. All right, fellas, great show tonight. Appreciate y'all for coming and rocking with me as always. Any last minute thoughts before we get out of here?
Neck you later.
Eat them W's. For everybody tuned in, we appreciate you. Again, this is Mose Knows, Nick and Joe. They know too. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. We will be back at you later, maybe in about another week or so. Once we get some more free agent things happening, we get closer to the draft. We will have another live show for you, just chopping it up as we move through this phase of the NFL offseason. Again, appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We out. Peace.
Peace.